To 43 million viewers, folks, welcome to our message here, eternal salvation. And summertime is here, so I decided to take you on a walk with me while I'm walking here. And I forgot to mention in my previous message, the longer version. First of all, watch Elliott Hulse's message on saving the marriage. It's very important. What I did forget to mention in the other one is the benevolence or mercy. The spirit of mercy, folks, how to basically show kindness and bless others. For instance, I'll give you an example. Everywhere I go, I have a special, a special wad of cash here, right here, a little belt clip that has, 20s, 10s, whatever you can give to people, The point is, this is a must, because by doing this, you actually are, the Bible says, the homeless people who come to us for help, many of them are actually angels that we have entertained, who disguise themselves as angels to see what we're going to do. Are we going to help them, or we're going to turn them down by saying, oh, he's probably going to use it for drugs or alcohol? Don't do that, folks. Be richly blessed. Just bless everyone. Each time they ask, for $1, give them $2. Ask for $5, give them 10. I usually ask people when they come to me, how much do you want? They say, just a few dollars. I give them 20. Their eyes get real big, with gratitude. Now, those who are a little bit more on the professional side, they say, well, can you spare a 20? I give them 40. They still eyes get big. But the point is, folks, if you can, bless others. You will be richly blessed. Just have something with you, on you, every time, everywhere you go. In every of your pocket that you have, every bag that you have, So I'll tell you a quick story, very quick. This is from St. Francis of Assisi in Italy. He was the early church father, the ascetic, a saint who led a very special lifestyle. He was walking with God, was very close. He could actually tame animals, wild animals like grizzly bears, wolves. They could not hurt him or harm him in any way. They would leave. Not only just leave him alone, they would actually come to him to be petted by him. So, Saint Sergius of Radonezh in Russia, Saint Francis of Assisi in Italy, had the same experience. So, Saint Francis. Let me tell you a story about Saint Francis. He was struggling with his perception of leprosy and people who have leprosy, lepers. He couldn't handle them. He just couldn't handle them. No matter what, he just basically, especially when he heard the bell that they were required to wear on their necks to let other people know that they are approaching. And so that was something that St. Francis could not handle very well. And so let me tell you what happened. He was with a friend of his, and they were going somewhere. His friend knew of this weakness that St. Francis had. And this is a true story, folks. So they were going on a journey somewhere, and St. Francis heard a bell. They both heard a bell. And so his friend, knowing of St. Francis's weakness for lepers, he said, should we choose another path, another road? Now listen to this, folks. This is a good example of how you don't want to run away from your weakness or from your fear or from anything that you're struggling with. Face it head on. He said, no, my friend, all roads lead to them. I must face this issue that I'm dealing with. And so they were headed straight towards the leper that was approaching them on that road. And the closer they got, the louder the bell was ringing. And as they got closer, the leper was in the final stage. He lost his limbs. He just had stumps because he lost his, it's a lot worse than diabetes when they amputate your limbs. It's basically there was nothing left of the face, of the limbs. It's just he was practically more than an invalid. It was a horrific sight to see a person that had leprosy. And Saint Francis, at that point, had compassion on this man. And he realized that by the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit filled his soul richly and completely. And he forgotten of his attitude towards lepers. So he reached out to him, and he hugged him, and he kissed him. Yes, the leper. The very person that he could not stand because of their condition. So he hugged this person and he kissed him as if he was paying homage to Christ, as if he was visited by an angel, as if this was a visitation from heaven. And he even kissed the ground. It was a common practice in those days, 2,000 years ago, to kiss the ground upon which an angel stood or Christ stood. It was just something that, especially in North America, people don't understand this custom. It's all removed, Everything is me. So anyway, so he kissed the ground, he hugged his clothes, and folks, at that very moment, this man transfigured before him and disappeared. Saint Francis of Assisi was holding the clothes that this man was wearing, but there was no body, no physical body. The transport unit went to the other side. This is because of the greatness of the love that was shown to Saint Francis to overcome this weakness, and because of the greatness of the love that Saint Francis showed to his leper. And he was no longer fearing lepers. It was the same divine agape love. Remember, agape is the word for unconditional, highest form of divine love that exists in this universe. That was agape love that caused Saint Francis to hug this leper, and he got cured and disappeared from sight. God took him. And it is assumed that Saint Francis had a visitation. It was an angel of God, or perhaps Christ himself, who appeared in front of Saint Francis to test him. And he had passed that magnificent test. Yes, folks, every time you see a homeless person, yes, in the real world, it's a homeless person that wants your money. But if your eyes were open and you saw the other side, the invisible world, the world of the spirits, you will see that it's not that simple. You got to open your heart and reach out to those people with everything you can. They ask for an apple, give them 2 apples. They ask for something else, give them that plus then some, Ask for $1, give them 2. You will be richly blessed, you and your family. You'll go very far. You have no idea. That's all I asked you. This is what I wanted for you to know. Besides my other message previously about Elliott Hulse's message. Elliott is the one who's defending marriage by bringing patriarchy again and biblical concepts. He's a great man. He used to be just an athlete. Now he's got his movement to save marriage in America and the world again. So this link is going to be below this video. So watch Elliott's message. I was going to do the same identical presentation, but he beat me to it. Elliott is a great guy, yeah. So to 43 million of your viewers, this is probably the most spiritual message that I have for you today on this beautiful day. So if you're stuck at home, enjoy it. It's about 69 degrees, March, first week of March, and it is summer weather, 69 degrees, so it's like Fahrenheit, so it would be about 21 degrees Celsius, low humidity, maybe 5% humidity, and definitely the summer is coming. So anyway, folks, if you're stuck at home, enjoy it. listen to this message over and over again. This, I hope, will leave you very, very richly blessed, because it's a special message of opening up your heart and seeing past your limitations, especially if you, for example, that was St. Francis' weakness. He had a lot of disdain towards lepers. But somebody in your family, perhaps you have some unforgiving spirit or sin, you got to go get past that, folks. Meet that condition face to face. Don't hide from it. That's the message of today. This is what I wanted to share with you while I was outdoors. If you have a very, very, very important, if you still have anger or a grudge against your family member or your ex-spouse or somebody that you've been sort of kind of fighting with, forgive them from the bottom of your heart. You will be richly blessed. Just like St. Francis was blessed by this encounter with an angel of God who looked like a leper, who looked like the hardest thing for him to handle, but he handled it. So I want you to handle your temptation or your biggest issue that you're dealing with, And usually for most people it's unforgiveness. I'm no exception, folks. No exception. It's very, very difficult for people that have really, really done you wrong and hurt you, and you gotta forgive them from within. It's very, very hard. Not for anybody, but for you. It's between you and God. This nobody else needs to be involved. You don't even have to reach out and tell them, I forgive you. Just forgive them from the heart. That was if you ever see that person again in your life, that you could say hello to them as if nothing happened. As if. And if you can arrive at that point, you are golden, folks. You have arrived. You've made it. You've progressed more than most people on this planet. If you're like St. Francis of Assisi, you're on that next level. You could see the other side. You became a more elevated child of God. This is a biblical term, it's like an honor to be called a child of God, meaning, there's the children of the world, which in Islam it's called dunya. Dunya is that world of illusory images that entices you. Something that we call in the Bible, in Christian terminology, we call the sin world, the world of temptations, the world of wealth. So in Islam, in Arabic, the word is dunya. Yeah, and the only reason I know this is because my wife had befriended a wife of a Muslim man, and so they were kind of neighbors. So for a while we would go into their place, and my wife would be talking to her, and I would be talking to this man, and we would sort of learn about each other's faiths. And there's nothing wrong in sharing our beliefs. And so that's where I picked up a few ideas. Folks, they're beautiful, wonderful people. They're just after the same thing, worshiping God and finding peace in this world and having a family and having those traditions and not going over into the world. And unfortunately, the world has come to us and kind of enslaved us. And that's what we're dealing with. This is why the purpose of this message is to keep you on track, spiritual track, of course. Not what the world gives us, but what we have from the other side. And one of these days I'm going to make another video about what I've learned on the other side when I actually stepped into what appeared to be a portal. We were in the mountains. I got out of the car, and as soon as I got out of the car, I stepped into something that was absolutely another dimension, to put it mildly, and disappeared for about half an hour from my family. Then they saw me again, but they thought I was hiding under the car, and they couldn't find me. It was bizarre. I literally stepped out, disappeared. But I went into another dimension. Like I said, it's a dimension where English was not spoken. No human language is spoken. It's a language of mathematics. I don't want to say zeros and ones. It's language of higher mathematics. Fibonacci numbers. Everything is spiral. Everything is this golden mean. The spiral galaxies, the way your hair grows, the spiral DNA helix, everything is spiral, everything is just sort of a beautiful, it's a language of mathematics. I will make a separate video about my trip to the other side, but all the questions were answers. It was a question answer session that was going at the speed of light, meaning there was no delay between me formulating a question and getting a complete answer back. and that is definitely worth recording. It's just too much. Once I start, I would not be able to stop. So it will be a very, 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 very lengthy video. That's why I'm going to have to get a lot of batteries to this camera here to record it. It will probably be a 10-hour long video, about possibly longer. I don't know. It's just something that is so much I could share with you about everything that I've learned on the other side. And so, but in the meantime, just enjoy this beautiful day, especially if you're stuck at home, and watch Elliott's video on link below on saving a marriage and how we've been duped in the West. Of course, in the East there's still keep it protected, but in the West, in America, unfortunately, it's devil rules here. 90% of people believe in transgender agenda, in this demonic realm, in this demonic propaganda that's being funded by certain individuals. So we're going to do the opposite. We're going to counter that. We're going to fund our agenda with millions of dollars, and we're going to actually present this message. We're going to counter their message of homosexuality, transgender agenda, and demonic worship with our message of hope, love, and patience, and worshiping God, not the demons. And demons, unfortunately, are winning the war because they have deceived so many. It's just unbelievable. People don't even know what's right, what's wrong, and it's so easy to sort of. It's very, very strange. Everybody's smiling in the West, but behind that fake smile is a demon who is pulling those strings, those muscles that make the person smile. And it's very, very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate that this loss with the reality that's lost, the biblical reality, that there's a family, this hierarchy, the father represents for the children. The father represents an authority figure. It's ridiculous. Watch Elliott's presentation, because I was going to do a 3-hour long presentation. His was just 1 hour, beautifully done, exactly the same topic that I was going to cover. He's done a good job. So watch his presentation. The link is below. Share it with others. Remember, we have 43 million viewers watching this in the dark web. The dark web, why? Because I don't trust this YouTube thing. Today is here, tomorrow it's not, and we have our own platform. Find us on the dark web. We talk about everything. We talk about how to survive, how to lose weight, what to do about business. I share with you some thoughts how to run an international commodities trading business where you essentially enter into a contract and you control the shipment of energy commodities from one country to another. I share with you some methodology how to do that, but look into that. Look at it yourself, really. It's just you controlling. Usually it's a $12 million contract per year, and you get a cut, you get a commission of that, which will be more than plenty. It's probably 10 times more than anybody makes in a year. If close to $1 million a year is not enough for you, then I guess you should try something else. But for most folks, it's going to be more than plenty, and it's recession-proof, most importantly. And I've been doing this for many years. That's why it's not new to me. But I'm trying to introduce you to this idea or business, especially if you're entrepreneurially minded. Now, if you're kind of a 9-to-5 person, don't despair. You may want to try it. I don't know. I mean, you may just need an office job. I don't know, but for people entrepreneurially minded, this would be perfect. Now, another thing, as far as losing weight, it's very simple. I'll give you a quick synopsis here. I lost over 40 pounds in 90 days by going on a grapefruit diet. So first of all, you drink your filtered water with lemon in the morning. You remain vertical for half an hour. You don't sit down, you don't lay down. It's important for your system to absorb it while you're vertical. There's a certain valve that doesn't open. But if you sit down, it opens and digestion starts. So you don't look at the food at all while you're meditating and drinking your water. So you say prayers, you say your meditation, you say your blessings over the water you're drinking. Tall glass of water, 18 ounces with lemon that's been marinating in a glass jar in the refrigerator. So it's cool water that's filtered, that's got some lemon, because it has antiseptic properties. Lemon does. You So you say your prayers, you wait half an hour to 45 minutes while you're walking around being vertical. No news, no newspapers, no email, no computer, no cell phone, none. Just meditation, you and God. Do it first thing in the morning while it's still dark. Then 45 minutes later, you eat a large large grapefruit, organic, preferably. And then you eat a small dinner in the evening, while during the day you do some activities, walking, jogging. I play tennis all the time when the weather permits. So I've lost over 40 pounds in 90 days. You can do the same thing. So I was over 200, now I'm 170 or so, around 170. So I can move faster on the tennis court. I have more energy. It's phenomenal. It's like I'm alive, finally, as if I'm like 16-year-old, something like that. It's unbelievable energy levels. Versus being over 200, it's not acceptable. The charts are off. If they tell you you're 6 feet tall, you have to be around 200. That's incorrect. It's nowhere else in the world that you're overweight if you're 200, being 6 feet tall. You understand? Unless you're competing in some kind of a bodybuilding sport on stage. So this is how you lose weight. As far as the rest, your spirituality, you go on a 1-week fast. You will be richly blessed, drinking nothing but water, listening to Gregorian chants. That's the Catholic chanting, or Greek Orthodox chanting, or Russian Orthodox chanting. It's called sacred music. And so I highly recommend that during that time, you just have somebody, a friend of yours, keep an eye on you, but you don't interact with anybody. Take a week off. No family members, no friends, no business. Now, if you cannot do that, if you cannot remove yourself from your environment, you have to go somewhere. There's a place in Canada called the Madonna House. It was built by a Russian Catholic and Orthodox devotee, a woman that came to America in 1921 or something like that. She was 20 years old when she came. She was born in 1900 AD. So she built a community called the Madonna House in Canada. And normally, unless it's COVID-19 nonsense, you just pay $50. You go there for a week, you stay, you're given a log cabin, a Bible, and some water. And they keep an eye on you there so you safely sort of progress spiritually. And it's the best way for people who have busy lifestyles where they cannot get away from their family, friends, and co-workers, stuff like that. But if you have a log cabin somewhere, that's the best way to do it. Just make sure make sure you have a cell phone on you, but you don't keep it on. You just keep it off. Just use it in case of an emergency. So that's my recommendation for you, how to get your spiritual eyes open to a deeper dimension so you could see the other side, so you could be able to read people's thoughts, so you could be able to get on the frequency of God. Look at this beautiful eagles over there, flying hawks, eagles. What I refer to as the frequency of God, folks, is that other dimension where things line up according to God's will and you're participating in that process. You are actively part of God's providence, essentially. The only way to get to that realm is for you to sober up, meaning to put away the things of the world, meaning this world gives you nothing but usually the contemporary problems, demonic agenda, demonic force, demonic everything. So you have to separate yourself. Remember, we're in this world, but we're not of this world. And so it's very important to make that distinction. So everybody's participating in those gay parades, LGBT, I don't even know those terminology. It's from the devil. It's dark. It's demonic. You understand? If you don't know this, what are we talking about here, folks? I'm trying to elevate you to that level to where you don't even have to think twice. A lot of those people on the street, they don't even know what to say no to. How could this be, folks? 10, 20 years ago, everybody knew here's the Bible. This is what the Bible says. This is what God approves. How could you be killing babies and approving abortion? How could you do that? You can't. You cannot. And if you have to think twice, I cannot believe so many people say, well, I'm kind of 50-50 on that topic, pro-life, pro-choice. It's insane, folks. That means your head is in the fucking toilet. You understand? In the midst of it, before you actually flushed it, and your head is in it. If you really believe that killing babies under some kind of a demonic pretext of whatever that is, there is no choice for women. It's an industry, multi-billion-dollar industry, that's made for very rich people to extend the lifestyle and be young. It's called rejuvenation therapy. That's based on the stem cells that are taken from the body parts of those babies that are killed. That's what's driving it. So the abortion clinicians, they make $900 in cash. Cash. That's what they take every hour. So there's a long line. Women come in. Usually lower income minority women come in, and they give them $900, done. And that's why they don't even disinfect those many clinics don't have time to disinfect or they don't care to disinfect the medical tools. They just sort of remove the babies. By law, you cannot deliver a baby that's, you cannot kill a baby that's born alive. So do you know what they do? I'll actually tell you. They reach down, first if the zygote is small enough, they suck it out with a special vacuum machine, a vacuum cleaner, basically, a specialized vacuum cleaner. They insert, and it sucks out the whole thing. Yeah, it's very powerful suction. If the baby is too big for that, it's already formed, it's got bone structure, they actually reach out with very, very long tongs, which you do barbecue with, for your chicken. And it's medical grades, and they crush the skull, and they twist it and break the bones in the arms, and when they pull it out, they pull out parts. It's arms and legs and brain. I'll show you a video on the dark web. You'll see what they do when they kill babies. I actually interviewed a clinician who converted and became. He showed penance, and he realized he was killing babies all 40 years of his life. So he shared how the industry works, how certain body parts cost $500, a leg is $500, a spine is $1,200, and they immediately freeze it and ship it to Las Vegas, Nevada, where they process it, extract the stem cells for the rejuvenation clinic in New York City and LA, and then they charge very wealthy people $10,000 for a shot. And when you get that shot, you look 20 years younger. So for wealthy people who are usually tycoons of industries, or when you look at every politician out there who are older but look quite young, they are on that therapy, so that you can sort of you can actually you could check it out. You could see, you could pay attention to anybody who's over 60 and looks like they're 40 in their 40s. They're on that therapy, so you understand what it's for. So they're killing babies for body parts, for stem cells, for that liquid that is injected into wealthy people. That's what supports that industry. So it's actually, there is no women's rights. They could care less about women's rights. Are you kidding me? It's a satanic agenda. They're all, you know what Mark Twain said? Mark Twain is from Florida, Missouri. He's not from Hannibal. See, that's another, I'm not sure how people are so ignoramuses. It's just unbelievable. He was born in Florida, Missouri. Florida is a small hamlet or village. Population was 200 people at that time. Then he moved to Hannibal at the age of 6. But he's from, it's Monroe County, which is west of St. Louis, on I-70. So he grew up in that environment where there was a hardware store that he frequented. And he witnessed how when a poor child, it doesn't matter white or black, I'm just saying a child from a poor family would come up to basic, or even a father would steal from the store just to feed the family, were just starving. The store owner who would catch the person, the shoplifter, beat him to a pulp, man. It's just nothing left. Barely leave him alive, And when Mark Twain saw this, remember, Mark Twain is just a very, very sort of expressive little boy and became a famous writer because of his expressive mindset, what we today call creative. He's a creative person. He couldn't handle that because he saw so much viciousness, all based on this greed, this capitalistic greed that, so where's the Spirit of God? That store owner was going on a Sunday morning to pray to God at to church. And on a Thursday, he was beating somebody to a pulp instead of, giving them a loaf of bread so that his children could eat. He would just almost nearly kill the man for trying to feed his family. Yes, he stole it, but he saw the dichotomy that people are just hypocrites. America is based on sort of hypocritical kind of practices. They say you go to church, and then outside of church you kill each other for money. And a loaf of bread costs it's like 10 cents or something like that. It's not even that much. So Mark Twain was struggling with that a lot his entire life. He saw this. Well, he saw more than that. I'm saying that's what he saw growing up. But then he moved, and then he moved to, he became famous. He started traveling. He noticed that in Europe it's different. It's not quite as bad. It's not quite as sort of, there's some kind of a human, and especially in Asia, he started traveling to India and Asia. He saw that the people were sort of more dignified over there. It's not all about money. And so he gave a speech. He was asked, Mr. Twain, please. By the way, his name was not Twain. It's a nickname. It's a slang. It's a pseudonym. His real name was Samuel Clemens. So he said, but he went by Mark Twain. So he said, Mr. Twain, would you please summarize, how would you describe living in America? He was in London giving a speech when he visited England. And he said, I'll tell you what, America is a country of petty shoplifters who would sell their mothers if the price was right. He had that sort of a Missouri twang there, which I can't quite duplicate. I don't know how they spoke in 1800s, but you get the point. He really nailed it. He said, America is a country of petty shoplifters who would be willing to sell their mothers if the price was right. See how he summarized the essence of this capitalistic greed-based, they're all going to Sunday morning pretending like they're all sort of going to church. But then on a Thursday, they're going to be doing what they do to those poor people who steal their bread, to feed their family. 10 cents, it's just unbelievable. It's a hypocrisy. He couldn't stand. Mark Twain, he couldn't stand. That's why eventually he just sort of, I believe he spent a lot of time overseas, and he was so advanced. He was so sensitive to these injustices, to this hypocrisy, really, that he saw in his time, in America especially. Remember, in the 1800s, that's when he lived, So he was definitely ahead of his time at that, when he was alive, so when he lived. But anyway, so I'm going to wrap this up, folks. Watch Elliott's presentation on saving the family. Don't be like people in the 1800s in Monroe County, Missouri. Just be more advanced. Go on a 1-week fast. Be more progressive. Meaning closer to God, not progressive in the world, but progressive in the realm of spirituality. Lose weight, I told you, Grapefruit Diet. If you are interested in business, if you're entrepreneurially minded, explore the option how to do international commodities trading. I'm suggesting the energy market. So where you'll be signing a contract to control the shipment of commodities from one country to another, to energy-rich China, for instance. That's where I do a lot of business with. It's just one of the destinations because they need all the energy sources that they can handle. And it's a recession-proof business that will never go away because people at this in this energy-hungry world, it's what feeds the global economy today. So look into that. And another practical advice I'm going to give you, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you your future. Basically, just make sure the people that you hang out with, really, they have something positive to add to your life. They're contributing to you spiritually or business-wise, or just some positive energy. Don't those people who are negative, it's the worst thing to have as your company, or God forbid your spouses. Look what we've got. We got this beautiful eagle flying. I hope you can see that. That's amazing. Incredible shot. He's hunting for food for his family. See, everybody's hunting. Everybody's hungry. Everybody needs something. But anyway, folks, at this note, God bless you. My usual benediction. I was hoping to make this into a shorter video. Like, so nice outdoors, 69 degrees. I was hoping to make it like a 2-minute long video, but Jesus Christ. Turned out to be another long video. But anyway, at least I've said what I wanted to say in this one. That's about showing mercy and facing your fears head on. Don't hide. It's not. If your fear is something, for Saint Francis of Assisi, that was lepers. For you, if it's alcohol, if it's pornography, if it's sex addiction, if it's you name it. All those vices are everywhere. The sins are plentiful. I mean, the list is long. I mean, anything, you name it. But if you have something that you need to deal with, just face it head on. Don't take a different path. Remember, like his friend suggested, hear a bell, lepers coming. Why don't we just go around it? He says, no, I'm gonna deal with this, and life has changed forever for him. After that, that's where he became truly that non-dual being. He was able to sort of see the other side at times, and that's what I'm preaching from this digital pulpit, this digital message. The church that comes to you, you don't have to go to church anymore. See, we have evolved. On this note, my usual benediction. May the Lord bless you. May he send his angels to guard you, protect you everywhere you go, and help you with everything that you do. Your family, friends, and family. God bless you. I hope to see you at the very top. Take care.